my name is JoJo, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the stigma behind mental illness. In doing this, we're going to be looking at Michelle's story. Michelle shared her story at the National Alliance on Mental Illness website. It's a first-person perspective. She's giving her own story about her struggles with the stigma she faced in mental illness. So we're going to be looking at how a college student was able to go from mentally ill and unable to receive help to overcoming stigma and going back to being happy and healthy. So to understand the challenges that Michelle faced in her own personal story, we first need to look at her background. So for Michelle, she started her life in a difficult position when it comes to stigma. Michelle starts by talking about the fact that she was raised in an Asian American culture, being an Asian American herself. And in her culture, it is seen as taboo to talk about mental illness. There's a lot of stigma behind it, so she was worried even from a young age about talking to those around her, her family, and her friends about these difficult challenges she was facing. She started feeling depression in high school, but withheld from talking to her family and friends in excessive amounts because she was worried about being a burden. It wasn't until sophomore year of college that Michelle was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. And at this point, she had been told that she needed to take care of herself mentally, but was not given any skills or knowledge on how to do this. This led to her worrying that she would be unable to complete medical school, and even when she first tried to find help on her own, she was unable to find a counselor that she felt that she really clicked with. So Michelle, we see, is struggling with these feelings of mental illness, and she wasn't able to easily get help because of the stigma that she was facing. So this led to her being more isolated than she was in college, leading to a deeper state of depression. So Michelle's experience is one that many people go through. So why is it so hard for people that are going through mental illness and facing this stigma to get help? In a Journal of College Student Psychoanalysis study, it was found that increased levels of stigma relate more to negative attitudes or a decrease in intention to seek treatment. For this information, we can see that the stigma is actually causing these barriers in the ability for people to get help. So for Michelle, we can see this because she was worried about the view that others would have of her, and she states this specifically in her first-person testimony. So she's worried about the way others are going to view her, the way others in her culture are going to view her, and how that's going to reflect on her image. She doesn't want to be seen as weak or a burden or attention-seeking. So we see these difficulties that Michelle is facing, and we know that there's stigma around mental illness and a lot of people are struggling with this. So how was Michelle able to seek treatment? How was she able to get help to return to a happy and healthy state that she had previously been in? So Michelle ended up eventually seeking treatment by herself. And she did this after realizing her difficulties with showing her own vulnerability. She had that difficulty in seeking help, and even with those around her or with a counselor, because she was worried that it would be seen as she was seeking attention or a burden, which I have mentioned before. However, after sophomore year of college, when Michelle received her official diagnosis, she became more comfortable in the discussion of mental illness and more comfortable in her ability to get help. In a qualitative study about the experiences with stigma that many other people have dealt with with mental illness, it was found that the psychological resilience to overcome stigma through taking control of your diagnosis is very important in the ability to connect with a support group. And so Michelle was able to do this, and she was able to reconnect with those people she used to talk to in some amount. So Michelle's story is one that is widely felt by people throughout the world. She's one person, but her story relates to thousands of people. We all know someone that's struggling with mental illness and struggling to get over that stigma of what others will think of them before they are able to get help. So how can we learn from Michelle's story? How can we help others overcome this stigma surrounding mental illness and help them seek treatment? This is something that I want to discuss more throughout the semester. No one should struggle in silence. It's time for us to stop the stigma surrounding mental health and help those that need help get it. That is the end of my speech. I'm going to go ahead and show you my note cards here. Let me put them back in order. Okay, this is my first note card, my second note card, my third note card, my fourth note card, and this is my fifth note card. Okay, thank you.